Okay, guys. So let me introduce Mr. Avinash sir. So basically, he's
Call me,
also
Gaurav, call me Avinash only. No, sir.
okay. So
Call
he's
me
also
Avinash.
connecting the dots, just like the company name is BDTC, but he's transforming the dots, and we are connecting the dots. So he's the founder and CEO at BDTC, and also the chief coach at Forbes and BW Business World. He is the columnist, and we are very happy that you have came here and you would be sharing your insights on our some of the questions which has been shared by our young entrepreneurs and the interns.
Sure, perfect.
Okay, so let's start with it. The first question which we all wanted to know is that what's the connection between the science and the spirituality?
Okay, quite interesting question, Gaurav.
Yeah.
So, today we have reached to a point, the entire scientific development where we have research which is highlighting, a lot of highlighting or rather explaining a lot of spiritual concepts, right? For
Mhm.
example, in a spiritual domain, we get to understand that the importance of compassion, or why do we become passionate with someone, or why do we live with more love and kindness, right? So we understand spiritually these are the things we have been told to practice, told to learn. Whereas now, if you look at the science, we have research available now which highlights the tremendous power which you can harness through things like happiness, things like compassion, things like being kind to somebody, things like gratitude, right? So science is kind of a language which is now demystifying spiritual concepts, right?
Okay.
And especially in science, the areas like quantum physics, areas like positive psychology, neuroscience, these are phenomenal in terms of making us understand how do we, really see the bridge from those mystical concepts of science, spirituality, to understand it more in a practical way. Let me give you one example to just prove the point a bit more. We in the spiritual aspect, if you look at someone who follows spirituality well, one very profound aspect of spirituality is to serve, right? Is when you go and really your way to serve people. It can be physically serving people through giving them food, giving them maybe helping them with education, right? And in this lockdown, a lot of people have been doing this,
Mhm.
so so it's a very profound aspect of spirituality, of helping people, and when you help people, you know unconditionally, you get to have what we call as a very deep sense of happiness and joy,
Yeah.
right? There's a deeper meaning you get, right?
Mhm.
Now there was a research done in UCLA in 2014, right? And they found there are two kinds of happiness. If you look at the understanding of happiness from science point of view, the two broader understanding of happiness. One is what we call as hedonic happiness, hedonic, hedonic happiness, right? This happiness simply means you go to a mall, buy stuff, right? Purchase money, spend money, purchase things for you. You feel happy, the pleasure in that moment, right? Hedonic happiness. Then there is a second type of happiness, which is called as eudaimonic happiness, which is eudaimonic, eudaimonic happiness. This happiness you feel when you do something for other people, right? When you go and serve someone, give a gift to somebody, and that makes you feel very happy.
Mhm.
Now, what they found, what scientists in UCLA found, when people practice the first kind of happiness, which is spending money, buying things for themselves, they found the genes which causes inflammation was more expressed in the immune system, which means by spending money on buying things for ourselves, it was leading us to go to a place where we are more prone to inflammation and getting sick.
Mhm.
Whereas when people spend money or spend some kind of work to help somebody else be happy, and they felt that happiness from seeing someone else being happy, they found in the immune system the genes which were expressed were anti-inflammation inflammatory genes, which means it was making you more healthy.
Mhm.
So when you do something which makes somebody else happy, it improves your immune system, it improves your health, right? Now, I'm not trying to say that we should not buy stuff for ourselves, But look, what happens is sometimes when you go into a trap of, trying to be feeling fulfilled by
Mhm.
just spending money or comparing with someone, that is a zone where we get trapped, right? So this is one example of how science is proving the aspect of compassionate action, which we talk in spirituality. So it's a very interesting time to live in, wherein both are coming together and getting fused very, very well. Yeah.
Yeah, so I also agree. Like we can consider example of Ratan Tata. Like he used to giving a lot for everyone. Means like in terms of everything. Like he used to contribute to society, to nation, and yes, he is getting the karma returning back a lot. Yeah,
Completely, completely. Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
So the second question, which means like most of the interns, I would say, like when we are in the college and when we are like about to enter into the corporate culture, we have a tendency that what is correct and what is wrong. Okay, at the career we can decide that we have the good skills. Okay, let's go with development. If we have a good managerial activities, let's go to project management and all. If we have good designing, that's okay. We can decide, but still there are plenty of things are there in which we are not that capable enough to take the correct decisions. So how can we increase our frequency of taking the correct decisions most of the time?
Very interesting question, Gaurav. Now, what I believe is when you talk about decision-making abilities, right? I think let me give you three broader points, which I see from my side, right? Possibly something which I've used in my life, right? One aspect is a lot of time, when we have to make a decision, very few people would really take time to go inside themselves to understand what is their true need, what is their true value, what is their true desire, right? A lot of us are not connected to it, right? And a lot of decision we make is based on variables which are outside.
Mm,
Maybe because my friend is telling so, my mom is telling this, my dad is telling this, right? So we are influenced by the judgment or the need of other people, right? Now, for example, for example, we are like in a college time, right? I know there is a placement coming up, and I know there's examinations lined up. Now, how am I going to spend my this time this week? Should I just spend time with my friends watching movies, which I may want to feel emotionally like let's enjoy, or physically I want to just rest and lie down and just pass on time,
mm,
right? That's physical body need. But if I truly go deeper and understand and ask myself, what is my permanent need here? Permanent, something which will give me permanent pleasure, which would be possibly doing what is required right now for getting the results which I'm looking for right now, right? So I think number one is you have to spend time to go dig deeper and pierce through the clouds of judgment or clouds of perception we
mhm,
form based on other people, right?
mhm,
And these are very close people sometimes, right? And like that's what I have done in my life. Like almost major decisions in my life I have taken myself, and no, and that way I've realized that I cannot blame somebody because it was my decision. May right, wrong doesn't matter, but eventually I learned from it, right? So
mhm,
the first aspect is understand your core values, what drives you, what is your true need. And when you spend time in solitude to figure it out, I think from that space, the decision you make would be much deeper, which still may be a wrong decision. You may not know, you may end up doing a wrong decision. But even that wrong decision would help you learn a lot of things, right? It would not be that you will be in a no man's land. So, as somebody says, no, like a good decision comes from experience, and experience comes from bad decisions, right? It's a
mhm.
cycle we have to go in. So that's the first point.
Right.
Second point, I think, is a lot of decision making abilities comes in when we really feed our mind with very good knowledge, right? Now, how do we get this knowledge? Today we are living in a time which is the most amazing time in human history, right? Today, like imagine 50 years back, if you want to know about someone, you have to go to a library to get hold of a book, and then you read about the person. Today, in this device, you have possibly all the research done, all autobiographies of people, books people have written down, the research being done. At access, you can get so much authentic data to feed your mind with. Now,
Mm,
decision making is nothing but eventually playing with the permutation and combinations possible of what I know and what are possibilities in the future. So
right.
if I input my brain in my mind with a lot of good data, good reference point, good decisions made by, suppose, like if I read the life of Azim Premji, if I read the life of, say, Elon Musk, if I read the life of Henry Ford, Benjamin Franklin. Now, I get to have so much reference point, right? So many perspectives. Now, I read this. I think it's a quote which I read somewhere. It says, "A wise person is
Mhm.
who can hold multiple perspective
Mhm.
about one situation
Mhm.
without getting influenced by any of them,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
eventually, how many perspectives you can develop about one point, one subject, right? That's the key. So second is possibly read life of people, read books, read amazing books, because those knowledge which you feed inside the mind, the thought coming in will help you to create thoughts or decisions which will be very profound. Number two. Quickly, number three one would be, you see, in science today, we are coming to understanding that, as a human body, we are not that one body, right? The entire body is a process. And the way different part of the body interact, it helps us to think differently. Now,
Mhm.
two most important organ in the human body is the human heart and in the human brain, right? Now, initially we thought that the brain sends all the information to the entire body. Like we think, we see five senses, and the body reacts accordingly, right?
Right.
There's an institute in US called as Institute of Heart Math. It's a leading body research on the area of heart. And what they have found is that the human heart has its own brain as well, which is called as heart brain. And it has around 60,000 neurons at the heart. And what they found that the heart communicates more data to the brain than the brain does to the heart. So what they found is when you bring your heart and the brain into what we call as coherence, it's a term called as coherence. When the heart and brain comes in coherence, right, your intelligence improves to a very significant degree, right? Your perception broadens to a very significant degree. Like we have research that when you're feeling positive and joyful, people tend to make better decisions. In a stress, we get narrow thinking and we make not so right decisions, right? So bringing the heart and brain in coherence is a secret key which they are finding now. Now, how do you bring this in place? How do you bring heart and brain in coherence? Simple strategy is if you can focus on your heart and if you can focus on doing some deep breath, like inhalation, exhalation, around 10, 15 cycles, right? Focusing on your heart. Just by doing that, you would find when you look at the ECG and the EEG when they are doing the real time, like there's a scientist called as Howard Martin from IHM. I think I'm taking the name correctly. He has a TED talk, and in which he gives a live demonstration. Moment you do a heart center breathing, which means focus on your heart and then breathe in, breathe out, and he's showing that instantly your what we call as HRV, heart rate variability, comes in sync, comes in uniformity, comes in coherence, and that influences the brain as well. So intelligence, or what we call as wisdom, what we call as proper thinking or right decisions to a large level is a skill to master, and the body, the brain, the mind, like a device, can help us in this part, right? And this is why meditation becomes so important, right? When you meditate, you get to have deep understanding. Like that's why Steve Jobs, you see, he left US and came to India for like 1.5 years
Yeah.
to be in solitude. And these entrepreneurs, they go in, they take their time, right?
Right.
And that's how they can generate so many great ideas, right? So those three key points, I think, decision making would be easier if somebody followed that part.
Yeah. Yeah. These are actually the good points, especially when the books, when you said meditation is, yeah, definitely everyone is doing. Books really help you out when we are in some stuck in a bad situations where the key knowledge of the authors, their history, uh, it help us in taking the decisions, right? But still, when we are taking some decisions, we have a feeling like uh, go it with the gut feeling or do it with some mind. So what is the
It's
like
14
how
hours.
it helps, like gut, you should we go with the gut feeling or with the mind?
So the very interesting point. Now we what we understand is gut. There's something called as gut brain as well, right? What is gut is nothing but is what we call as the instinctive feeling, right? Gut is the instinctive feeling we get. Now the gut feeling is primarily all the data which you have with you. So body has a memory, right? Like you drive today, your hand knows exactly how to move because body has what we call a cellular memory or muscle memory, right? So all the past you have lived, right, this lifetime, and if you believe in different lifetimes, then all the lifetimes lived before, right? All that past data somehow is in our subconscious mind, right?
Mhm.
Now, in any given situation, the subconscious gives you a gut feeling, like an instinct. It's not an intuition; it's an instinct you get,
Strength,
right?
right. Mm.
And that can be followed. But what happens is there's a cliche here. There's a what do you call it? There's a disclaimer here. If you are emotionally negative, right? If you are feeling maybe anger, fear, worry, doubt, in those situations, your gut feeling may not be accurate. You may not be able to decipher it correctly, right? Because your emotional body would kind of, cloud that understanding of gut, right? But if you are feeling very calm, your mind is calm, right? You're feeling very peaceful inside, and then you see what your instinct says, and those possibly would be sometime, or in fact most of the time, are the right things, right?
All
So
right.
that state gives you the access to the cut as well. Yes,
Yeah.
that's why if you look at these martial artists, they
Mm.
would focus on the navel chakra, the navel center, right? So the navel center, what they believe in, in the Chinese qigong and these martial arts and the healing aspect, they know that the navel center is a very secret place where a lot of energy is stored, right? And if you somehow can access that energy, you can access tremendous intelligence and power. And in fact, all martial artists, they are trained to focus on their navel when they are practicing, learning, or even
Mm.
going to the competitions and all. So these are again domain of some ancient understanding of
And
things.
that's a new thing which really I was not aware of it. Yeah.
Sometimes when you are like, sometimes when you're feeling like low and down, you're
Mm.
feeling weak,
Mm.
for 5 minutes, just put attention to your stomach, right? Your navel, right? Just 5 minutes, put your attention there and notice what happens to your energy. You would find suddenly like instant surge in energy, right? And I've done it for myself. I do a lot of traveling. It's instantly. And that's why, look, if you look at the Hindu scripture, when you see somebody like Lord Ganesha with a big belly,
Mm.
now it was not an imagination of a painter to just make it a good belly, a big belly. But these paintings carries a very secret understanding of things. So the big belly of Ganesha represents something deeper, which you may not see at a physical level, right? So yeah, so navel, the gut, the navel. This is a very secret, very amazing place to access intelligence as well. No.
Yeah, thank you so much for answering this. So many questions are coming up, but before that, I would like to ask one more question, like which is related to mental health. So, how important is mental health,
I
especially
think,
now?
yeah, you've seen something on off.
Yeah, especially now in this time.
I think, if you look at the entire lifetime, your life is a reflection of your mind, right? The way your mind is, the way your life would be, right? Now, when you talk about mental, look, again, I may not have the expertise to, go deeper in terms of mental health, because these are professionals who would, but as per understanding of whatever work I have done and people I've met and the things I've seen from experts, I think mind plays a very center role, because all decisions you make, all thoughts you think, all the actions you take, the mind is at the center point, right?
Mm.
Now, what we have to understand is, if the mind is not trained well,
Mm.
if the mind somehow becomes your master, right?
Mm.
You are in a bad place,
Mm.
right? But if you become the master of your mind, suddenly you have access to the greatest power you have with you, which is your human mind, right? And that's why the entire focus of a spirituality or meditation is to gain a certain level of control over the mind. It's a very important aspect. Now, when we talk about mental health, the first aspect is people are not bothered about it. Now we are talking about it, because when you see these people, some of these people, who like end up like giving their life, or no, we have seen these stories now. Now people are becoming serious about it. But for all those who are listening right now, understand, your mental health should be your priority, right? Now, obviously, this is a deeper area to study, but very simple things which can help you, have a very robust and very healthy mental health and also mind. Now, what are these habits? And today's science highlights some of these habits, right? Number one is, if you are doing some bit of physical exercises every day, right? Research has shown that when you do physical exercises, it contributes to your mind very strongly. Sometimes we have to use the mind to move the body, But sometimes when the mind is messed up, we can use the body to work with the mind as well, right? So physical exercise, any form of physical exercise is very important in the routine for a strong mental health. Second is my favorite is meditation, right? You cannot have more things to say about this part, but meditation is so important today because you see, eventually in the mind, we have n number of thoughts going in, right? Some of these thoughts are ours, and some of these thoughts are picked up from the society. Like data is coming through senses at the speed of I don't know what, right? We are constantly bombarded. Now, if you don't spend time to clean the mess here, right? Then one day you'll find so much mess has happened that you are now overwhelmed, right?
Mm.
So when you practice even say 10 minutes of mindfulness meditation, simple form of meditation to just to be aware of your mind, to your breath, what you do is you simply start, kind of selecting thoughts or kind of discarding thoughts, right? So you are not leaving the mind completely un, unregulated, but you
Mm.
are having some bit of regulation of the mind, right? So meditation is a very important aspect. And a lot of people think, okay, meditation will do when we are 50 or 40. No, 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 no. If you look at the world top people, no matter which area, athlete, stars, business people, you would find meditation would be a part of their schedule, no matter what. So even at a young age, 15, 18, if you can start practice of meditation, even 10 minutes to start with, it's a tremendous, tremendous, tremendous aspect to your mental health, right? And third is, in this world of social media, you have to develop some concrete relationship, right? A lot of us, there's a Harvard study done for I think what 75 years, and they were trying to find out what is one secret of human happiness, human fulfillment. And after 75 years of study, they found your social relationships. How strong is your social relationship, right? So it is not about having 100 people knowing you or you knowing them. It's
Mm.
about having those two, three people whom we can fall back when you feel a bit low down, which is very normal, by the way. We all feel that part, right?
Mm.
But
Agree.
then having those access to those people and, the ability to just speak my heart out, my mind out is such a great gift, right? So having those people around you and those relations needs to be cultivated. It will not happen on its own. You have to spend time, energy, to cultivate, to nurture those relationship, unconditional relationship, right? So I think that again gives a very good net, a safety net, because when we sometimes go low and down, there are people to handle. But I think it's a very important area, and there are a lot of research now. Especially there is a neuroscientist called as Andrew Huberman from Stanford. This guy does amazing podcast. He's a professor of neuroscience, neurobiology, and he demystifies or he shares some amazing insight. So I would urge everyone to listen to his podcast, right? Some tremendous knowledge he provides. And also many books are in this area. Like one book I'll highly recommend is there's a book called as Mindset by Carol Dweck from Stanford, and she was the one who coined the term growth mindset, no, the fixed mindset
Okay.
and the growth mindset. And a lot of research that how the mind plays, how the mind functions, right? Another very good book to read is called as Counterclockwise. This is by Ellen Langer from Harvard. She was the one who first demonstrated that you can reverse aging, and she did it with a group of people, like 10 old people in a monastery for 10 days, and they were able to reverse their aging to a large extent just by using the mind. So she published the book called as Counterclockwise, an amazing book to read as well. So yeah, I think mental health, as what you asked is the prime of human life. If that is under control, life is sorted. And if that's not under control, no matter who you are, where you will be in a mess, right? So this is a paramount importance to be taken care of today in the world we are in right now.
Yeah, thank you so much again for answering this. The fourth one, which is related to law of attraction. Like,
Yeah.
what is this law of attraction?
So, Gaurav, some people, when I sometimes are taking the session in the companies, people hear the employees hear the term and they say, is it about attracting a partner? Right. So I say, yeah, that is obviously a case, but it is more than that. So now, if you look at the life we live right now, you would notice the kind of people you stay with, right? Your closest friends, the people you meet, you would find these are people having similar qualities, right? Like they say, the birds of same feather flock together, right?
Mm.
Look in the school, in a college, right? there are different groups. And all these groups have people of similar qualities. All these sad, depressed guys one side, happy guys one side, the intelligent lot in the front, back, not yes in the back, right? So we have these groupings happening, and
Mm,
these groupings are people with similar qualities,
mm,
right? So we tend to come in close contact or get attracted to people whom we find a resonance with, right? Whom we find a connection with. Now, so what law of attraction says is that the world we see right now is not a physical reality only. Obviously, the physical reality is visible, but the world we live in is an energy reality. The
mm,
core is energy of all that we see as physical, right? And that's what today we have quantum physics completely proving this point, right? Now, the law of attraction as a metaphysical law, it says that because everything is energy, you attract the energy which you have. Like energy attracts like energy, and
mm,
unlike energy repels unlike energy, right? So based on what kind of energy you create, your thoughts, emotions, your feelings, your belief, your words, it's a very unique pattern of energy which you create. And today now, we have devices to capture the human energy, like GTV camera, colon photography.
mhm.
Not still mainstream science has acknowledged it, but a lot of doctors I know, they are using it now, right? They are capturing the human energy, right? What we call as aura. So depending on what is your unique energy pattern, right? Based on your thoughts, your emotions, your belief, right?
Mhm,
Okay, let me give you a different example to explain to this point.
mhm.
Have you ever met somebody who is highly successful? Maybe a business guy, maybe an actor, maybe a cricketer. Have you ever come in close contact with these people?
Yeah.
And have you ever noticed that when you go close to them, you'll feel a different energy, or like you
Yeah.
can feel,
Aura is different
look at the
completely.
aura of this guy,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you go close to somebody, with due respect, who's a very poor person,
Mhm.
how do you feel the energy to be?
Yeah, the aura is different every time.
Different. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And again, not saying who is good or bad,
Mm,
but there's a very significant difference of
yeah.
energy. We can feel that, right?
Mhm.
Now, that is because both the person has a different thought pattern, different emotional pattern. Maybe the rich guy or maybe the successful guy is having more a strong energy of confidence, success, happiness, joy, accomplishment, whereas the poor person possibly is feeling misery, is feeling sad, low and
Mhm.
down. Sometimes you go to a friend place, and as you enter the friend place, you say, I don't know what, like this place seems very negative, right? Now, you haven't spent time, but you instantly get a feeling. And sometimes you go to a friend's place or somebody's place and you say, wow, this place is so peaceful, right? Now, we have no logical understanding why we are feeling so, but we are feeling something for sure. And that is energy, right?
Right.
So once you understand this world we are in right now is the world of energy, and energy which is similar to us, we attract, and energy which is not similar to us, we repel, right?
Mm,
So think about this part. What if I put a device to your body, right? And the way I can measure your heartbeat every second, your blood pressure every second. I'm sure there'll be a device in the future, very soon, when people can measure your energy every second, right? But would you agree, Gaurav, in the entire day,
mm.
morning your energy is high,
Huh. Right.
afternoon the energy goes a bit dip, and the evening the energy goes low.
Right.
Only if you have a party lined up in the evening, then the energy again goes high, right? So we can
Right.
see that in the entire day, energy fluctuates, right? Now, what if I can measure your energy second by second? Suppose so out of the entire day, I get a reading. Okay, Gaurav, today out of 10, 10 being very high energy, your average reading was 7.5, right, for one day. Imagine I'll do this for 1 month and for 1 year and for 5 years. Now, in 5 years, I'll get a very significant pattern. Gaurav, in 5 years, your mean has been 7.2 or 6.8, for example, right? Now, if out of 10, 10 being very high energy, 0 being very low energy, if energy is 6, that's what kind of energy you have attracted in your life as well.
Mm,
Now, you cannot be at the energy 2 expecting the life success to be energy 10. Doesn't happen that way.
mm.
If you're in low energy, 2, 3, 4, right, the quality of life is also low because life is nothing but response to energy,
Right.
right?
Right.
So people who can manage to be in high energy 8, 9, 10, they tend to attract situations, opportunities, people of similar energy, right? So the idea is your thoughts, your emotions are not just something that stays in your body. These thoughts and emotion are like a broadcast electrical magnetic field of energy which get broadcasted in the universe, and depending on people who feel a match gets attracted as well, right?
Mm.
Now, last example. Gaurav, I'm sure you have a girlfriend, right? And you are missing her badly.
नहीं अब शादी हो गई now I'm married.
Okay, so you have married now. You are married. No, so suppose you're traveling and you're missing your wife, right? And have you ever got this experience wherein
Hmm.
instantly you think about your wife and the wife calls you up?
घर पे ही रहती है अभी तो लॉकडाउन में है every time.
Okay, so think about it with mom or dad, right? Yeah, especially with mom. You're thinking about mom or a friend
क्या
and you
होता
get a
है?
call.
It happens, yeah.
Now, you ask anyone, they all would have this experience.
Hmm.
How come? Is it just a random thing happening? So how does law of attraction will prove this is when you are deeply connected to someone, maybe your mom, dad, wife, husband, right, or friend, when you miss them, when you feel about them, the energy it reaches to them as well,
Right, right,
and they end up maybe calling you. The same also happens to somebody you hate. You've taken a off today saying to your boss that I'm not well, and you're going out in the market just roaming around, and you're fearing I hope boss doesn't catches me. And here the boss, you end up meeting the boss as well, right?
right.
So what happens is we are in this what we call as quantum field, which is we are in the ocean of energy right now,
Right.
right? Everything in this world is connected to certain degree of energy, right? So what happens is at our frequency, we attract people and situation and things in our life. Like in radio, at 93.9 FM, you'll have a different song. Whereas at 101, we'll have Vivid Bharti. If you want to hear a Bollywood song, you can't go to Vivid Bharti. Not possible, right? Similarly, the human energy also has frequency, right? Now, success, abundance, prosperity, joy has a different frequency. Poverty, anger, negativity has a different frequency. So, what is your frequency to start with, right? Based on your energy, your frequency, you end up attracting from this buffet of things lined up for you, right? So
Hmm.
if you are being very joyful, irrespective of what you have in life right now, you're very joyful, happy, you're in a sense of happiness, celebrating, putting hard work with that emotional state, you tend to attract situations which would be helping you to get to that level.
Hmm.
Whereas if you're low down, having all of it, what you want for yourself, and still be feeling low down, cribbing, criticizing, your energy frequency is very low now, and you end up attracting more of those situations, right?
Hmm.
So it's a very fundamental law, and today we have enough. Even science is. Do we have time to give you one example, which was done in science about this part about LOA?
Yeah, please.
So one scientist called as Reno Poche. I don't know how to pronounce the name. Renopoche. So, I
Hmm.
think he's a Roman scientist. He did something very interesting. No, now what he did was he got a big room, right? And when the chicken babies are born, right, the babies have a tendency to quickly cling to their mother, will start drinking milk, whatever it might be. They are with the baby, right, with the mother. Now what the scientists did was when the chicks were born, right, uh, the scientists removed the mother and he put up a robot, right, a
Okay.
robot in between the chicks.
Okay.
And the chicks started thinking that the robot is the mother, right? Now, before all this happened, uh, what they did was they took a robot and they put in this open field, space, right? And the robot it's like what we call as, it is a very random event, right? Random event generator. So the robot was meant to move in whatever direction it can move, right? So for the entire day, they noticed the robot movement. They found the entire room, the robot was moving in almost all the place evenly, but still random movement, no control movement, right? Now listen, this is very careful now. What they found is after this, when they got the chick and they put the robot, right, around the chick, right, and then after a few days, they put the chick at one side of the room in
Mm-hmm.
a cage. In a
Mm-hmm.
cage. The
Right.
chicks can't move right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the entire, imagine a room, and the chicks were kept in one side in a
Cage.
cage,
Yeah.
and the chicks can't move. Now they put the robot in the
Hmm.
center
Okay.
and just uh, ignited it to move in the random order. Now, entire day the robot moved, and then they saw the graph, right? How the graph looks like today. They found 90% of robot movement was on the side where the chicks were caged.
Okay.
90%. And look, if you look at the diagram, all activity was on this side only. This side, no activity at all. Now, this cannot be a random event, right?
Hmm.
So, what they came to a conclusion that the intention of the chick, right, intention of the baby is to be close to the mother, somehow pull the robot to themselves,
Hmm.
right? Tremendous experiment, right? So that's how we know that intention has a role to play. When you pray for someone, when you think about somebody, your intention makes an impact, right? And that's the world we live in right now. Thoughts are, things which affects physical reality. So that's one experiment which defines the world very, very well. No.
Right, and I agree. Most of the time it happens with us as well. अरे भाई तेरे को याद कर रहा था तेरा फोन आ गया.
Cool. And even with, if you correlate a lot of things, you'll see there are a lot of things which are connected, which you don't see possibly, but a lot of things get like morning में आपने घर से निकला और आपको घर में fight हो गई morning में, and the entire day something keeps going wrong, like traffic मिल गया, boss झगड़ा हो गया, because your energy has shifted to start with itself, right? So we have a lot of things it works out.
So I would take some questions like one from Priya. What is inner engineering, which we used to hear a lot nowadays on social media?
I think inner engineering is, if I'm not wrong, I think that there's a program run by Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev, right? So I'll not be able to comment on it because I have no idea about it myself. But I think that's the program they run in. So, but sorry, I can't comment because don't have much idea about it. But if that is related to that program, but in the normal way, I think inner engineering is one concept which talks about that. In the normal self-help industry, it simply means that Uh, if you have a mobile, if you have a laptop, if your software is not working out well, right, the laptop would not perform well. So what we say in the aspect of human being is, can you first take care of your mind, take care of your emotions,
Hmm.
work on your inside, right? Once you have worked on your inside, life realities can be managed very well. But a lot of people, they don't focus inside, they focus the external outside, and that's how sometimes problems and situations becomes challenging also. So maybe in broader term, that's how we can relate to it possibly.
Yeah. One question from Bhavya. What should a beginner meditator keep in mind while meditating, and how should he use that meditative skill in practical world?
You know, uh, to start with meditation, Bhavya, very good question, right? What should a beginner meditator keep in mind while meditating? So, Bhavya, look, I think to start with, you have to first choose what form of meditation you want to carry for yourself, right? There are many forms of meditation. Sometimes it can be a meditation to watch the breath. You're simply watching your breath, kind
Hmm.
of mindfulness. Or sometimes it can be just becoming aware of your thoughts, your emotions. That's also a meditation, right? Sometimes meditations can be a mantra chanting. You're chanting a mantra, Om, or mantra like Gayatri mantra, or like Om Namah Shivaya mantra. So that's also a meditation of a different form of meditation. And sometimes meditation can be, to put in your mind. So the word meditation means to meditate on. You are meditating on something, right?
Hmm.
Now, most people don't realize we continuously meditate on something or another, right? The question is, can you choose selectively a concept, a topic, or an inspirational idea to meditate on? So, meditation largely means putting your attention, your awareness on one focus point for a longer duration of time, right? So, if I can sit calmly and I can just think about the teacher, Lord Buddha, and I can simply just put my awareness onto him, just to dwell on him, right? That becomes a meditation, possibly, right? Sometimes I can put my mind, my attention to the aspect of love or compassion, right? And when I put my entire attention on love and compassion for a long period of time, I'm meditating on love, right? So it can be many forms of meditation. Now, Bhavya, when you practice meditation, what happens is the byproduct is your concentration improves, right? Your awareness improves, right? Now, if your awareness improves, then whatever you do in your life also improves. Because all that you do requires your concentration, requires your awareness, right? So you don't have to use meditation to live in a practical world, but if you are practicing it consistently, the benefit would be seen in situations. When things are chaos, you are very calm and quiet because you have a degree of control over yourself, right? People are shouting, you are very calmly responding. So those behavioral changes automatically comes in when
Hmm.
you are a regular practitioner of meditation.
Right. विजेता श्रीवास्तव, सर आई वांट टू स्टार्ट ट्रेडिंग बट समझ नहीं आता कि कहाँ से स्टार्ट करूं, सो आप क्या सजेस्ट करेंगे?
Vijita, now that's a good question to have because a lot of people would face this question, even me. Where do I start? Look, the key is, the key is not about uh, kaun sa book padhe. The key is to start at least the habit of reading, right? So I'll suggest you is now depending on your life situation where you are right now, what you're exactly doing right now, what is your maybe some couple of years goal, and what is your interest, right? Basis on this, just get a book to start with, right? Don't get into a mode of thinking, okay, I'll have the best book to read, yeah, the best knowledge to pick up. It's about developing a habit. When the habit is developed, you can end up, reading all kind of book. So I think to start with, there's a beautiful book called as Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, right?
Hmm.
Very amazing book, of one of the bestsellers. Another is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, right? One of the bestsellers. And these are very good books in making us understand the aspect of human relationship, right? Another book called as there's a book called as The Talent Code, right? Is by some author called as Daniel Coyle, I think, right? He talks about the aspect of how people who are talented or how people become talented, right? Amazing book to read. So, Vijita, just pick up a book which interests you, right? Maybe whichever genre interests you, self-help. Robin Sharma books are very good to read, right? Or some of the another book, if you want to read about subconscious, is The Power of Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy, right? Very simple book, but very amazing read. And also, Vijita, start with something lighter. Don't go too much heavy on a book, right? But pick up something at least, make the first breakthrough, get a book, maybe like if you want a very small book to read, there's an amazing book called as Man's Search for Excellence by Viktor Frankl, right? Man's Search for Excellence. He was one of the psychiatrists in the World War II, an amazing story of his survival, right? So amazing classic to read, very slim book, very small book, can be finished in a few days. Man's Search for Excellence or Man's Search for Meaning. I am not sure exactly the title by Viktor Frankl. That's an amazing book to start as well, right?
Question from Ashish: does focusing your connection on positive thing is spiritually, or loving your work and finding ways to make it interesting is also an spirituality?
This focusing on nation. Uh, Ashish, good question. Now, Ashish, spirituality is the way you want to define for yourself, right? But there's no one definition. It's up to you how you define it, right? Now, spirituality is not just focusing on positive things. In fact, that is not a spirituality. It's maybe a part of spirituality, but spirituality is more about, you know, it's not about thinking, it's not about feeling. It's about understanding the process behind thinking, the process behind feeling, right? For example, if I ask you right now, Ashish, that can you move your hand? You would say, I can move my hand. I say, can you move your leg? You say, I can move my leg. I say, can you move your body? You say, I can move my body. Then my question is, if you are moving your entire body, then who is moving the body? If your entire body is moving right now, then who is moving the body? You would say, I'm moving the body. I say, but you are moving the body. So where are you in the body then? Right? Now, if you question this, so you'll find, oh my God, I can move the body, but where am I? So I am not physically located in the body somewhere, right? Because I can move my head, my eyes, my hands, my legs. I can move everything. So where this mover is, who what we call as I, where is the mover? Now, if you go deeper, you'll be astonished to understand, oh my God, like I'm using all of this, but where am I right now? We have no answer for it. So science would say you are a consciousness, which they say is the activity of the brain. The spiritual people say you are a soul, you are Atma, you're not the body, right? So Ashish, what spirituality is, knowing about yourself first. What who are you at the first place, right? When you know yourself, you'll know exactly how do you think, why do you think, or what you think, why do you feel, how do you feel. All those things becomes clear. And when those becomes clear, then you know start not, it's like a driver is having a car and the driver is driving the car. Similarly, you, the consciousness, can you use your body and mind to live in this world and live in this world constructively, right? Can you use your mind to create ideas and not letting the mind influence you, but you becoming the master of it, right? So it's not about just focusing on positive things. It's about, spirituality is about seeing things in accurate perception. I'm not trying to be optimistic. I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'm seeing things as they are. And when things are, I'm seeing as they are, then I'm trying to find out how do I make things better, right? So that is one aspect of spirituality. Now, then you said loving your work, finding ways to make it interesting is also, of course, like if you are loving what you're doing and that brings joy to your heart, happiness to your heart, and that joy and happiness you're using one first to really feel happy for yourself, and then if you can use this joy and happiness to also help people around you, right? Like your presence, is it making the life of people around you better or worst, right? So spirituality would be, can I respect people around me? And when I feel happy, can I also spread the happiness around me? So these things would become a part of spirituality. But it's perfectly all right if you're loving what you're doing and if it makes you feel very happy and joyful. If you go deeper, like there's a definition, I think, who somebody says that, no, what is genius? Genius is, you know, genius is a very beautiful definition is love. It is no, one second. Genius, when love get to work, it becomes genius, something like that. Which simply means that when you are literally falling in love with what you're doing, there's no blockage for you. You end up going to great heights. The issue is people doing work which they hate, right? Which they feel misery with, and they're still stuck, right? So a part of spirituality would be find out what makes you feel alive, what work you love in a way, what makes you feel free, and that possibly would also be a part of spirituality.
Neha, if we fail in an exam, we become sad. If our friend fails too, why our mind feel relief without doing exercise?
Bharat, I missed your voice. After Neha, I missed the thing completely.
Okay. So Neha, question is, if we fail in an exam, we become sad. If our friend fails too, why our mind feel relief without doing exercise?
No, Gaurav, I'm missing your question. Is breaking. The voice is breaking between. Can you come once more?
Let me check. So, is it? Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's better. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So Neha, question is, कि if we fail in exam, we become sad. If our friend fails too, why our mind feel relief without doing exercise?
You know what happens. So you're saying that if I feel I fail, I feel sad. But if a friend fails also, I feel good, right? This is because one of the reasons because of this is, for us to fit in this society is so important, right? To be in group with our tribe is so important. Look, we as a primate, in the ancient times, to survive means to be in the group. If you go out of the group, your life is danger, right? So to survive for our ancient people, they had to be in the groups and they had to be together and doing the same thing, right? And to be in a very strong network. So today, when we find people, right, in a group, and when we see a difficult situation, and when I see, okay, even my friend is in that difficult situation, suddenly there is a innate sense of calmness and peace. Okay, I'm not alone, but there's somebody with me as well. But what are we really fearing here, Neha, is our real fear is to be isolated. Our real fear is to be alone. Our real fear is to be left behind, right? And we don't want to face that. And we always want, and that's why the herd mentality. That's why we always want to be with group, even if it means doing the wrong thing. Sometimes we end up being in the group doing the wrong things, right? But Neha, that road may not lead to growth. Growth comes in when you find a deep sense of comfort with your own self, with who you are, right? So that's why you'll find great people, they would so often go in solitude and stay alone and think to really find who they are and find comfort with themselves. So yeah, obviously it feels good, and enjoy that part, but I think you also should take out time to really,
Yeah.
find the comfort with who you are, no matter what happens. Once you establish that part inside you, you would be free for a lifetime, right? You'll not be worried about anything in the life, in a way, right?
Yeah, I agree with actually Neha question that happens with I think most of the people. हम थोड़ा सा रिलीफ फील करते हैं चलो कोई कोई और भी है साथ में तो समटाइम दुख कम हो जाता है शेयर so it happens.
Yes, completely.
Santosh Tiwari, sir, do you think that neuro linguistic programming may help in developing leadership skills? How can we use NLP for inspiring ourselves? So he's basically from programming domain.
Okay, now the couple of questions here. Now I'll be Santosh. I have to clarify. There are two things about NLP. Now, one is neurolinguistic programming, which is a tool for the brain use in, and one is the natural language processing, which is the NLP, another part, which I think which is Gaurav you mentioned
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
So if Santosh you're asking about the NLP tool of the brain, and that's what I think you were asking possibly. So yes, NLP is a very powerful tool. It's like a manual of the human brain, right? So NLP, if you know or if you can learn, it will give you a lot of tools and techniques and understanding about the human brain. And in leadership, the first fundamental is: are you able to manage yourself first? Are you able to lead yourself first? And when you say about leading yourself, it's about leading the mind, leading the emotion, leading the behavior, right? So, Santosh, I think
Santosh
yes,
has just a message. He's asking about brain calibration.
calibration, right? That's what NLP I'm talking about right now. Yes, that's so. Santosh, yes, if you go deeper in NLP, and you'll find a lot of concepts, a lot of tools which would help you in developing leadership skills, because it will eventually help you to master your emotions, master your mind, master your behavior, and those are a part of leadership as well. But parallel with this, Santosh, what I'll ask you is, you know, one of the ways we learn is through really reading about people. So I'll suggest you find the top 10 leaders of the world who inspire you and read their autobiographies. Because when you have those stories in your brain of those great leaders, that's also an NLP in a way. We are modeling someone, right? So it's a very powerful way. So read somebody's life, a great leader, and parallelly use the skills, and then see, how do you first lead yourself, right? A lot often we want to lead people, but we first don't lead ourselves, right? So I think use the tool, use the knowledge, and see how do you change your life. Like set your goal for yourself, what is impossible right now, and see if you can break through. You can go to the next level, right? So yes, the answer would be yes. You can learn from NLP the leadership skill as well.
Similar question is what factor influence intuitive thinking?
Intuitive thinking. So, similar, what factor influence intuitive thinking? Now, the question is a bit unclear because I can give answer from many perspectives of it. But if you're asking about factor influencing intuitive thinking in terms of uh, my usage of intuition or my development of intuition. For example, uh, if I am an intuitive person or I want to intuition, right? The first blockage people have that they don't listen to their intuition. Intuition is a skill to develop, a skill to practice. If you don't honor the intuition, you'll find a bit of disconnect from it, right? So the way to develop intuition, and to use it well in your life is to start using it more often. And this can be in simple ways as well. For example, ask your brother, ask your friend to hide something in the room somewhere, right? And not to tell you. And you try to tap in the intuition and see where do you think the thing is kept, right? So the simple hacks which you can use to improve intuition, right? Uh, Another factor which develop helps you develop intuition is again meditation, because intuition is largely what we call as inner tuition, right? It's a communication from your soul to you, from your higher self to you. So when you practice meditation, you are enhancing the connection with your consciousness, with your soul. So the greater amount of information which flows down helps you to take decisions faster, right? So meditation affects it positively, and then not listening to it, always, always letting the mind be filled with the data from outside, from people, from news, from social media. These factors affect inflation negatively, right? Whereas solitude, whereas meditation, whereas prayer, whereas practice of intuition activities would help you enhance your intuition as well.
Yeah. So before I will be taking the last question from Nikhil. It is what is the best part to positivity and success in life?
What is the best path to positivity? Nikhil, there is no best path. Is no Life is a pathless path, right? There's no path to it. You
Amazing
have
life.
to create, you have to craft your own path. You have to sculpt your own road, right? There's no path defined. But yes, obviously we can learn from the life of people, right? There are two ways of living life. One is you do mistakes for yourself, which is good, because you're trying something new. So you do mistakes and you learn from it, and then you change your behavior. One. Second is read about people, great people, profound thinkers, right? Scientists, people who have made breakthroughs, and read about their life. Because what you're doing then is you are taking somebody's life of 50 years. The person has spent 50 years and experiences and write a book, and you are instantly taking that book and grasping a lot of wisdom from it, right? So Santosh, Nikhil, sorry, uh, the faster you can learn, the faster you can really achieve great things in life. Learning is very powerful, right? And that's why I think somebody asked Bill Gates that if you can have one superpower, what would you have? And Bill Gates responds, the ability to read faster, right? So we are in this age where at a fingertip we have access to so much knowledge, right? So
Oh,
much knowledge. So no, I think you should be really hungry to read, to acquire knowledge, understanding, insights. That will help you to figure out ways, right? So reading is one, and second, I think practice meditation, right? This will help you to really gain a degree of control over your body, over your mind, over your emotions, so that you really become not a victim but a master of these organs, these tools, which eventually affects life very positively.
I think we can take one one more question here from Yashasvi. Uh, is it okay, Avinash for you? We can take
Yeah,
one.
of course, we can, we can, we
Yeah.
can, we can, we
Okay.
can.
Isn't intuition just our brain learning from its past experience, or is it solely spiritual? I think it's a very good question because, yes, because it happens with us because we past experience definitely impact.
Yes. So listen, no, you know what happens, Yashasvi, very good question. Now, there are a lot of research happening right now on this intuition, precognition, metacognition, intuition. A lot of things are going on. Now, let me explain you how I understand it, right? You may or may not agree, but that's all right. So, what happens is when we have the when we have the understanding coming from inside us, right? From below to up, from the gut, from the subconscious, it is called as instinct, which is coming from bottom to up, instinct, which means all my past data, my subconscious data, past experiences, my past understanding, past learning is giving rise to my instinct, right? Which is from inside the body to your mind. Intuition comes from up to down,
Mm.
right? Intuition has no trail of thoughts to it. It's like you're thinking about mango, suddenly you get an idea about fish, right? It has no trail of thinking. So intuition always comes from up to down, instinct from down to up. So instinct comes from your past data, your past understanding, past learning, whereas intuition comes from your soul, which may not have any connection to what you have learned or not possibly, right? And in fact, a lot of major scientific discoveries were done through intuition, right? That the scientist spent 10 years doing something, suddenly one day he got the idea, he got the intuition, right? So intuition comes from your soul, and somebody defines it very well. They say intuition is inner tuition. Your soul is guiding you, your consciousness is guiding you. But if you're not hearing the voice, the intuition is remain useless because you have not silenced the mind to hear the voice of your soul, right? So intuition is from up to down, instinct is from down to up, right? But yes, it gets mixed off in the mind, so you're not able to figure it out. But again, silence in the mind would be a really great tool to access it.
Sure itself a book, I would say, because every question was very pretty random, and the way you answered it was just, oh yeah, it was to the point and it directly makes sense. Yeah.
No, no, thanks to the people who are asking questions. They were asking questions in my area as well. It was not something beyond it, but I enjoyed it. Yes, completely.
Yeah, means like it's really a great session going on, and uh, like the time is also running out, and we are very like pleased that you shared every questions with so much great examples. I think every example like case studies is very real because we have felt it somehow in the past, and we are very thankful to you to share those lessons. Before that, like I want to know that like how people can reach out to you because you are providing so many coaching and learning as well. So what is the best medium the people live also, and the people who are on through like LinkedIn can reach out to you?
So, again, today we are all over Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, right? So anywhere, I think we are mostly very active on Instagram and LinkedIn, right? Facebook, not that much. So you can always ping on Instagram. Instagram, my ID would be coach underscore Avinash. And I think the rest all over, it is Avinash Anand Singh, right? LinkedIn, Avinash Anand Singh. Twitter is also Coach Avinash. Facebook is Avinash Anand Singh. So just ping me on the social media. And generally, we are responsive. We respond very fast. Also, Gaurav, I think I can also share this. From last week, as the corona cases increased, we have started every evening meditation sessions, 7 p.m. Right,
Okay.
and
Okay.
these are 30-minute session, but we have got some profound results for people, like such calmness in the mind. So if somebody wants to join 7 p.m. Instagram or Facebook Live, right, on my page. So Instagram is Coach underscore Avinash and Facebook is Avinash Anand Singh. So they can join 7 p.m. We do a bit of forgiveness activity. We do some bit of breathing activity, silencing the mind. So it's a very good session. So if somebody wants to join in, they can come and also experience for themselves.
Yeah, I will give the link to everyone, the Facebook, LinkedIn, so that they can reach out to you. And yes, definitely it will be a great learning for everyone. And there is a thanks message from Vijeta and Santosh to you.
Thank you so much, Santosh and Vijeta. Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here and to speak to all of you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, then thank you so much for your time. Have a good day. Please be safe.
Gaurav, thanks for inviting. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for inviting. Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. Great work and carry it on.
Yeah. Thank you.
Take care.